Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Jay is off tonight. Miles City school officials now responding after allegations that hundreds of former students were sexually abused. The Miles City School District says it will work around the clock investigating what took place decades ago when the former athletic trainer was accused of sexually abusing boys was employed. At a district meeting last night, the school board chair said coaches and administrators are in shock and they are dedicated to finding out what acts took place. A civil lawsuit is in motion charging James Doc Jensen of sexually abusing boy students during his time as the high school athletic trainer from 1970 to 1998. He still lives in Miles City. The Montana Department of Justice launched an investigation into Jensen as hundreds of victims could be affected. Jensen has not yet been charged in the alleged crimes due to Montana's statute of limitations law on sex crimes. Now, the Miles City Unified School District is also named in that suit. Last night, officials said in the coming months, the district will take part in all of this case. Just one day after Judge Brett Kavanaugh and his accuser, Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, testified on Capitol Hill, President Trump orders the FBI to conduct a supplemental investigation to potentially update the Supreme Court nominee's file. Today, senators in Montana and Wyoming revealed how they will vote. Senator Jon Tester stated in a news release, quote, "I have deep concerns about the allegations of sexual assault against Judge Kavanaugh. I'll be voting against him." Senator Steve Daines tweeted his support, very proud to share that the great people of Montana are standing behind him, and I look forward to casting my vote to confirm him. Senator John Barrasso stated, "I continue to support his nomination to the Supreme Court," and Senator Mike Enzi has not committed his vote. He says, quote, "As the Senate moves forward, I will continue to carefully consider all the information before us." Republican Senator Jeff Flake of Arizona said he would support Judge Kavanaugh, but wants a delay for up to a week for an FBI investigation. Kavanaugh advanced from the committee with an 11-8 vote today, but according to CBS News, if Kavanaugh lacks votes on the floor, Republican leadership does not want to push a vote too soon. Well, did you see this? That's right. No need to adjust your television, laptop, or phone because that is snow you are seeing. This image captured this morning by the National Weather Service out of Billings as the snow slowed traffic on Interstate 90 near the Wyoming-Montana state line. Well, that snow caused some reduced visibility, but by mid-morning, it had all melted away. So with a closer look at our wintry weather, Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire is going to let us know how much snow actually fell, Bob.
Yeah, I like that this time of year when you get the snow, but it all melts away.
Yes.
And that's the good stuff. Well, let's start off with the Doppler radar. We can show you what happened last night. The Doppler radar shows you the heavy snow showers moving in. It caught up in a northwesterly flow, and eventually it just kind of all blew away. So here's how much snow we wound up with. Story, Wyoming, 5.7 inches. That's right. And places like Bighorn, Wyoming, 4.1, 4 inches over Burgess Junction. Sheridan, Wyoming had 2.5, and also Claremont, Wyoming, 2.4 inches of snow. And we have another big snowstorm moving into the northwest corner of the state. We'll talk more about that coming up in a few more minutes. Jeanelle, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Bob. Montana's minimum wage will increase in January to $8.50 an hour. Now, that's a 20-cent bump over the current minimum wage. In 2006, voters passed a ballot initiative that adjusted the minimum wage annually based on inflation. According to the state, about 8,200 residents earned hourly wages less than $8.50 last year. Now, if you're hanging out on the Billings South Side, look up. There are new signs serving as a welcome mat to the South Side neighborhood, put there as a way to rebrand the community. A dozen of these new signs were placed in the area on streets and in parks. They are designed by a local artist and placed here with the help from a community planning grant to foster a vibrant and healthier neighborhood. The slogan on the signs reads, "The South Side, the bright side of the tracks." And here's why.
We were in a meeting with some neighborhood seniors that were talking about misperceptions of the neighborhood and feeling like they were always the wrong side and how they wanted to be the right side, but also felt like that wasn't fair to other communities, so they settled on the bright side.
Now, if you're wondering about the cost, Billings Public Works made and installed the signs at no charge by working with the South Side Neighborhood Task Force. Clean up your property to keep bears out of trouble. That's the message from biologists as we move into a change of seasons. Bears are out looking for food and many times find it in the wrong place. Garbage cans, fruit on the ground, under a tree, and other attractants are common places bears find food. Fish, Wildlife and Parks experts say don't be surprised to find a bear in your area, but to keep them safe and you safe, it's best to pick up and remove attractants. Store your garbage inside, remove bird feeders, horse pellets, and livestock feed, and clean up apples and berries from your yard. Now, bears are hungry this time of year, so help them move along past town to find hibernation food elsewhere. Well, this isn't something you see every day. Two bull elk tangled in baling twine, then tangled with each other, and then tangled in a juniper tree. Unfortunately, wildlife officials could not free them. The elk were stuck like this for days, hungry, thirsty, and tired from the struggle. This picture was taken near Columbus last weekend. Game wardens analyzed the situation and felt it was too dangerous to cut the twine, and the animals were too weak to tranquilize. Plus, it would spoil the meat if they were shot by a hunter this fall. So wardens euthanized the animals and attempted to find where the twine came from.
Pick up all your baling twine, but we're not sure where it got picked up. And the ranch where it's immediately next to it, the rancher there says, I pick up my baling twine. I don't leave it laying around. And this obviously was a great big ball of it someplace.
Now, the meat from the elk was donated to the Veterans Meat Locker here in Billings for processing and distribution to our local veterans. Up next on your Friday night 5:30 news, we check in with Q2's Samantha Sullivan, who is gearing up with the MTN team in Helena tonight as they prep for Saturday's first live debate between all three candidates for Montana's lone U.S. House seat. And in sports tonight, a weekend full of football already underway at Dallas, and state titles are up for grab on the golf course. Scott tells us who's bringing home the hardware in just a bit.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Cohn and Jeanelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire and sports with Scott Green. This is the 5:30 news on Q2, Montana's news leader.